It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Lesante and welcome to the Luzerne County Report, bringing you information on what's happening in our county. Now let me tell you something, my friends. Give me some time, I want to explain something to you. Let's assume today you go to your mail and you're looking through the mail and all of a sudden you see a bill, a tax bill. It's a county bill. And you say, wait a minute, this is $300, $400 for county taxes. I thought I paid my taxes. And it's an additional bill. And say, well, where is this money going? Well, it's going into the county. Well, I thought I paid my taxes on that. No, this is extra, okay? So you begin to wonder, why do I have to pay another $300 or $400? Well, they want to operate the county. Well, who runs the county? Are they qualified to run the county? Are they using your tax dollars the way they should be using your tax dollars? And then you start wondering, well, I'm paying for people who are inexperienced. Today, we want to talk about the last 4 years in Luzerne County, all right? And these are facts. I'm not making these facts up. You pay for inefficiency. You pay for people you put in because they're nice people. You pay for people that some parties will say, oh, go strictly this way. Well, what do I know about these people? Well, today we want to review some things. I'm very happy to have on the course Romilda Crocamo, who is our county manager. And if you want to talk about transparency, my friends, there is nowhere else that I know of in this county that's transparent as what Romilda and her board is. And also joining me is the chair of Luzerne County, John Lombardo, and also Brian Thornton, who is the vice chair. Thanks for coming on the show. Romilda and I have a thing every month, but you guys, if you come up, I appreciate that. I bring this up, Romilda, because it's like going to a doctor who specializes in a certain thing. Well, you want to make sure that that person specializes in the area that you need.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't look at that when they're voting for people to go into office, okay? And we pay the price one way or the other, okay? In the last 2 years or 3 years, what have you accomplished in terms of being the county manager, and what have you brought to the table for our taxpayers?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for talking about transparency. I want to challenge anybody to find a county that's more transparent than Luzerne County. And it's not just my doing, it's working with county council. And any achievements that we have, we did this together because we care about Luzerne County, and it's not something that's personal.
Yeah.
But there are so many achievements. We've really stabilized our financial position, and we've trimmed and streamlined and made the county government more efficient, while at the same time not only maintaining services but providing more services. And one of the examples of efficiencies is putting certain departments together. Instead of having the departments in silos, we put them together, we're unifying them, they're talking to each other, and that means a better quality of service for the residents of Luzerne County.
I don't think most people realize what you inherited, okay? You inherited a mess, all right? And I'm sure Brian and John will address what happened during that period. But that cost the county a lot of money because of mismanagement or not knowing what to do, okay? And hopefully we all learn our lessons sometimes, right. Okay? And what you had to do, you needed help. And you needed support. Am I correct in saying
Absolutely.
that? Okay.
It's 100% correct.
So what happens is you have to go to your board and say, look, this is what I have. This is what we're facing. And then you got to work it out. And I'm sure they'll each tell me how they did it themselves. And so when you were doing that, did you get any resistance from John and Brian and the rest of the board?
No, as a matter of fact, I turn to them because they each have expertise, and I want to bring them in. For example, Brian Thornton is an engineer, and he was in the financial world for a while. When we have engineering projects, it's not just engineering, but it's finances as well. So I invite him to the meetings. I want his expertise. And John Lombardo, our chair, he's a first responder. And we have a significant responsibility when it comes to public safety. Our 911, our EMA, and our sheriffs. So I turn to John. If there are issues that we're finding, I turn to him. I ask him, what can we do to make it better? And I absolutely have to say that they're always there when I ask them a question and if I need them. And it just makes a better working relationship.
How much does politics play in your office?
Well, we live in a political world, and I'm fully aware of that. But I can tell you, when I'm faced with a decision or a recommendation, the other side of the equal sign is always what's best for Luzerne County. It's not what's best for Romilda Crocamo. It's not what's best for Democrats or Republicans. It's what's best for Luzerne County. And but I'm aware of the pushback because we're in government, and government works in this political world.
And Romilda, isn't that sad? I find that to be very sad. I find it to be sad, not that we don't have political parties. In fact, you're a Democrat, registered Democrat. And so you have different, but however, you don't operate as a Democrat. You operate as as a county manager, and what's better, and the proof has been in the pudding in the last couple of years what we've achieved. And that's the thing that, I've said to you, I think before, over 7,000 shows I've done. Mm-hmm. Since 1994, I've interviewed a lot of politicians, and some of them are great, and some of them are really full of it, and some of them are phonies from A to Z, and they come on and they try to lie to the public. But you know what happens? I get a politician, and boy, they're popular. Oh, they're great, and they tell jokes, and they pat you on the back, and we got to vote for Sam Lesante. He tells he doesn't know crap about what's going on in terms of operating a college or a county, and that's what I'm always concerned about. I may not agree with certain things, but what I've seen accomplished in the last couple of years, particularly since we've been doing this report, a lot of things. John, as the chair, first of all, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
As the chair, you certainly have seen a lot in the county council. How do you give us a review of the last 4 years that you've been on the council?
Yeah, so I've had the honor of serving in a leadership role on county council ever since I was elected. The first 2 years I was on council, I was vice chair, and these last 2 years I've been the chair of council. So I've actually gotten a really intimate look at how things happen, both on the administrative side and from the perspective of council. I'll tell you, prior to having Romilda as our permanent manager, it was like the Wild West in the county. Our previous manager, he was not from this area, so he didn't understand Luzerne County very well. He didn't understand really how our government was set up. And that was a huge challenge for us as county council, and a huge challenge for other people within the government, because they didn't understand, he didn't understand how he was supposed to approach them in a lot of the day-to-day operations, and then what he would be responsible for, what we would be responsible for. But then flipping over to when Romilda was hired back as our permanent county manager, it's been like night and day. We've been working very well together between the council and the administration. We've accomplished some really amazing things, and council over the last 4 years has accomplished great things despite our previous manager. We were able to successfully allocate $112 million from the American Rescue Plan, which was the federal COVID response money. We also managed to keep taxes low the last 4 years. So, in spite of some of those administrative challenges that we had in the first year and a half, 2 years that we were on council, we still were able to get really good things done. And now it's just like a rocket ship since we've been able to work together with our administration.
When I was chair of the Luzerne County Trustees, we had 15 members. And what I tried to do is give them as much information as possible. Every board member, okay? And we had some board members on who just didn't like me, didn't like the administration. And no matter what I did, it was, I'm gonna get Lesante, I'm gonna get Lesante, I'm gonna get Lesante, okay? And even though I fed them as much as I could and gave them as much information, and I had the same thing, we had a transparency going on, okay? And I wasn't gonna buy the political nonsense. When I look at when she was reappointed, and with all due respect to all board members, but I was frustrated to a degree when I saw some members who did not vote for Romilda. After I've seen so much success in this county, after I've seen so much transparency in this county, after I've seen how you've kept the taxes down, okay, I'm saying well, John, you haven't done your job because these people weren't informed of what's going on. How do you react to that, John?
Yeah, so every council member has their own opinion and their own way of approaching things.
Yeah.
Because we all come from diverse backgrounds. That's one of the things that I've always said was one of the positives of having home rule and having the 11-member council. I personally think that 11 members is a little too many, but
try
that
15.
is right. I can't even imagine that. But I think that having that diverse set of opinions can be helpful. But in some situations, even when a decision seems so obvious, you may still get that one naysayer that might say, oh, well, Romilda did this one thing wrong, so I don't want to support her if if we want to give her a raise or if we want to do some initiative that she wants accomplished. So that type of stuff does happen, and that's just the nature of the political world. But I'll tell you that I kind of come from the same school of thought as you, where I want to give all the council members as much information as they possibly can get, and I want them all to not just have the information, but disseminate it and then share it with the public. So like if we're in a meeting, sitting together, a couple of us, and we're asking questions about a certain initiative that's about to happen, and one of our council members asks a really great question about maybe a road project or a bridge project, I always say, make sure you ask that question out in the public too, because you want the public to know that you're asking a tough question and that, whatever the answer is, whatever the resolution is that we come to, the public knows that we're doing our due diligence and we're not just saying yes and no on the floor of the voting session of a meeting.
Brian, how do you feel about that?
I want to echo everything he said, 100%. Going back to Romilda's appointment to the job, I got to tell you, the first year and a half I was in this job, I'm here almost 4 years now, it was disastrous. The county didn't move forward on anything. As a matter of fact, I think we were set back. As soon as we appointed her, she got busy, she got to work. I think it goes back to her heart. I think she absolutely loves Luzerne County and has that at the forefront of every decision she makes. I applaud her transparency because every time she wants to do something, a new initiative going forward, she calls me on the phone. I know she calls John. She says, here's what I'm thinking about doing, Brian. What do you think of that? This is going to be our challenges, though. And she includes us.
Isn't that great?
It's great, but I got to love the way you introduced this tonight because, nationally and statewide, politics has become a shambles. I mean, the violence, the rhetoric, it's disgusting, it's outrageous, but I got to tell you, I don't see it in the county with the county council.
Thank God.
We have 4 Democrats, 7 Republicans on county council, and I got to tell you, and I can speak for John and myself, we have great personal relationships with the 4 Democrats, and they with us. So I think that part of it is great, and you have to have that if you're going to work together and make any progress and get things done. If you're always fighting with the other side, nothing gets done. And I think at the county level, for the most part, we're willing to put our politics, leave it at the door when we walk into that room and we vote on issues. Going back to what you said earlier, how did we, what kind of progress have we made in the last 4 years? One of the things I'm most proud of, and it's probably the biggest asset any government body has, is their credit rating. In the last 4 years, our credit rating was raised twice, which is monumental. Most recently, it was raised up to an A rating by Standard & Poor's. That's amazing, because when it puts our county in that great of shape, down the road, if we ever had to borrow emergency money, it's a lot cheaper for the county, for the taxpayers. And there's a lot of things that go into that rating, Sam. I don't know if you want to hear about it, but
Yeah,
what's important.
I think I tell the public what's involved, because
Good. And
the public should realize why that is so great for us.
Exactly. And it's a subject that's pretty much not even thought of out there in the public.
That's exactly right, yeah.
The things that go into a great positive government rating of a government entity are having an emergency fund balance on hand. A lot of counties don't have an emergency fund balance. They have trouble balancing the books every year. They raise taxes astronomically every year. Not our county. Okay, we have a great emergency fund balance, which is there just for that purpose. Life's emergencies, big environmental disaster, weather-related events. We have that. S&P, they love that. The other thing S&P wants to see, is your county growing? Or are they lagging? Are they shutting down? Is the county creating jobs? Are they open for business? Do they invite industry and companies to come here? Are you inviting, or are you resistant to it? You know, they look at that. If we want to keep that shingle hanging outside. Luzerne County is open for business, and we want to make sure that's always out there. Now, with the development that comes, you have to balance that, with the environment, make sure it's smart development, make sure you're not just running at breakneck speed just to get new industry here. So you do have to balance it, the good with the bad, and you have to address that.
When you were saying that, I put down here attracting business in the proper way, okay?
Right.
And that's exactly what I wrote down, and that's always a concern. But, we go back to leadership, okay? When you had Pedri in there, you had Pedri was fabulous.
Right.
Okay, as well as as you can see what he's doing, Luzerne Foundation, doing a great job. We all have accountability, okay? And I have accountability, to my viewers. I try to be as honest as I can. I try to present both sides sometimes. The only thing they know I'm strictly pro-life. I have no qualms about that. But I've invited Planned Parenthood on my show since 1994. I give another opportunity for someone to come on. I say that because when I look at the council and I look at working with her, if you have a board member and they have a concern, I would say, well, either maybe they don't want to bring it in public, but in our caucus, bring it up, okay? But what you don't like is when someone doesn't present that to you, but presents it publicly and makes the person look like, well, wait a minute, well, why don't you call her and ask Romilda? See, and that's grandstanding to me. I hate that. Any person who does that, okay, is not warranted. I don't care, Republican, is not warranted to be sitting there representing this county. My friends, I'm talking about Luzerne County Report. Don't be fooled or misled, my friends. You're going to pay the price. I told you about, taxes. When they hit you, then all of a sudden becomes important. We have a transparent county. You can't get any more transparent than we are. We'll come back after this break. Well, welcome back to the Luzerne County Report. I'm Sam Lesante, and remember, you can get our full schedule of all the shows we have in the greater Hazleton area on the Panoramic. And remember, in the Wilkes-Barre Mountain area, mountaintop area, channel 92 every Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 11 p.m. Hey, my friends, we're up 32% in viewership in the Wilkes-Barre area. Thank you so much. Joining me today, not only Romilda Crocamo, who is our county manager, but our chair, John Lombardo, and our vice chair, Brian Thornton. What's coming up? What's happening in the future here in Luzerne County?
So one of the things that we recently voted on Luzerne County Council with the help of our administration, a recommendation to purchase new voting machines, actually. That's something that all the residents are going to use, they're going to see very soon. Not in this upcoming election for the general election, but more than likely in the primary next year, we'll see these new voting machines. We have this paper-based system, which many voters feel is more secure than a system of just computerized. We feel like that will help us out with some of the issues that voters feel that we have with election integrity, and we'll be able to verify all these ballots. You fill it out on your own, you stick it into a tabulator, and the tabulator machine actually is very precise. It tells you if you've overvoted, undervoted. It does things when it comes to write-ins. So honestly, it's going to be.
Tell me it's going to be easy. Don't tell me
it's going to be a very easy process, and it's actually going to be easier for us as the county on the back end, and cheaper, by the way, too. So it's a win-win for everybody, and we're really excited about it.
And the poll workers, it'll be easier for them. Most of the issues start, right early in the morning. You have to plug in, you have to do certain things for the electronic equipment, and that's going to be lessened substantially.
What else is going on, Brian?
Yeah, Sam, I got to tell you, I'm so happy with the progress we're making with the infrastructure in the county. I mean, we have the major bridge projects, the Nanticoke West Nanticoke Bridge. We just had a meeting this morning before we came here. That's progressing very well. We're trying to fast track it any way we can. So unfortunately, you have a lot of regulation hoops to jump through with the state, even federally, if there's historical issues with the bridge. But we're moving quickly on that. And again, the Firefighter Memorial Bridge in Pittston, which used to be the Water Street Bridge, PennDOT is leading on that project. Both those bridges in West Pittston are going to come down eventually, but the Water Street one is going first. That's moving very quickly. And roads, fantastic. I think we earmarked about $100 million
Over the last
for
4
roads.
years?
Yep,
20
the last
this
couple
year.
of years. So we're moving quickly on that, and these things weren't really addressed in years past, but we're addressing them now.
Brian, well, first of all, I'm very familiar with Fast Track. That's where we built the college, okay? Gave them $10 million. We gave the state back $2 million, which was unheard of at the time. But, how do you establish your priorities?
One of them, and Romilda could probably speak to it, is safety. Safety first. Which is the most dangerous situation has to be addressed immediately. That's how we do priorities. Some roads are in minor bad shape, but some are in major bad shape. And you have to address that, plus traffic counts. If a road has 10 people going on it per day, that's not a lot. If it has 1,000 or 3,000 people a day with school buses, we got to get that fixed.
What fascinates me, Brian, is that as I'm doing these shows, and we had, what's her name on from 911?
Lucy Morgan.
And you find out what they do and how involved that is. And then you take other divisions of the county and you find out how involved they are, okay?
Right.
It's amazing, especially when you're putting budgets together, and it's, well, every one of them have so much of a purpose in the county, and it's amazing to me how you keep track of everything and make sure that they're in line,
Well, that truck that rolled over with the battery spill on 924 of the last few days, REMA was on the scene. 911 and REMA workers were there, and they were there almost 24 hours.
Yeah. So you see great things happening for our county, John, as the chair?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really have set ourselves up over the last few years to continue to be great. We're continuing to pay down our debt. We'll have that paid off in 2030, which means that we'll be able to use that money for other projects in the county. And then I had mentioned the American Rescue Plan funds earlier. So what we did with that is we took about half of it and we used it for internal county projects that if we didn't have that money, all of those projects would either not get done, or when it became an emergency, they'd get done at the cost for the taxpayers. So we'd end up having to raise taxes or something like that. Thankfully, we haven't had to do that.
How are we we doing with getting grants from the state or the federal government? Are we getting our fair share?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've done a really fantastic job. We have a great grants writer, Michelle Sparich, in the county, and we've been doing an excellent job at seeking out those grants. And more importantly, even than just seeking out the grants, building the relationships with the state legislators, with the federal legislators, with the regulatory agencies, all the people who would be able to get us those grants. We try to maintain excellent relationships with them so that the situation is more hospitable when we go and ask for the grant. And we've been really successful with that thus far. Even on, I know Brian had mentioned that West Nanticoke Bridge, we actually received $10 million from PennDOT for the bridge. And a lot of that has to do with just the great relationship that we've been able to maintain with them.
And to dovetail off what John just said, which is spot on, the grant programs, when the state looks at who gets grants, they like to see a high credit rating.
Yep, there you go.
Because is this county spending the money judiciously? Are they good stewards of the taxpayer money? Oh, Luzerne County, they're in great shape. If we give them a grant, it's not going to be squandered, it's going to be used properly.
Hence why I'm telling you why the public should understand that, okay? Why it's so important to have the right people in office, okay? It's amazing. Well, listen, I wish you guys, one question. How is Congressman Muser and Congressman Bresnahan and our state senators, how are they working with us?
Congressman Muser has been great. He's assisted us with many road projects, with grants for road projects. State Representative Alec Rinkavage has helped us out significantly. Senator Lisa Baker was integral in that $10 million I just mentioned from PennDOT. So we work very well with many of our state and federal representatives in order to get things done. Congressman Bresnahan is assisting us also in the Nanticoke Bridge with some of the regulatory stuff. So we're working very hard with them, and we're so happy to have great relationships with them.
Anything in closing, Romilda?
We're a good team, and we want to go to the World Series, and we are on the way. And it's about communication and collaboration, and I communicate almost on a daily basis with our chair and our vice chair, and I think the results are evident.
Let me say this, as a person who's been around a long time, it's a pleasure having you on the show. It's a pleasure bringing information to the county, and I could say that, it's not bull. It's all factual, and I wish you guys the best, John Lombardo and Brian Thornton, the best this coming election. I wish you all the best. Keep our county going straight. My friends, it's the Luzerne County Report. Sam at ssptv.com. My phone number, 570-455-7267. Any questions, any comments? Let me know. We'll see you next time.